So quick tutorial, impromptu tutorial. So what do you do if you're in a riverbed like this and your bike falls over in the water? It's bound to happen. If you ride down here, sooner or later it's going to happen. Obviously, it would have been much better to walk that instead of testing it with my front tire. But, you know, it's bound to happen if you ride down in these riverbeds long enough. So, first of all, you cut the engine off as soon as you can. If it's completely underwater, it'll usually die on its own, and you hope that you don't bend a rod because the water does not compress. So you hope you don't do engine damage. So you don't want to try and start it with water in the cylinder. What you want to do is you want to drag it out of the water. Fortunately, it was fairly easy here. Then you want to check the air filter. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to check the air filter. If that is wet, then the likelihood is 100% that you've ingested water into your cylinder. So you will want to carry something that will allow you to pull the spark plug out. You want to think about whether you can even get to the spark plug. On most Japanese bikes, the spark plug is way up there on the top. That's good for keeping it out of the way of things, keeping it in the middle of the combustion chamber, things of that nature. The trouble is it's kind of hard to get to. So you have to make sure you can take off your tank, take off your seat, and all those things. Sometimes that doesn't require tools, and sometimes it does. On this bike, it takes a bit of work, as you can see. Then you'll pull the spark plug out, you'll kick it over, and most likely water is going to come out. Now, don't assume that just because water came out and then you kicked it a couple of times, it's clear. Because the next thing you check is the exhaust. So water tends to sit in this exhaust and it tends to run down and go back into the cylinder after you clear it. So ideally, you would have someone to help you. You would lift the bike up, stand it on its nose, and try and kick the engine over a few times and get the water out. Or not on its nose, but on its tail. That is not possible for me. I tried it and I failed. So I laid it on its side, I lifted the front tire up, and I tried to let the water run out. And then if you look under here, you can see a couple of holes, and that allows the rest of the water to run out. Not all exhausts have that. On my last bike, a ton of water would sit in there. It was really annoying. So once you make sure the exhaust is clear, the cylinder is clear, the air box is clear, then you can put the tank back on, try and fire it up. If you do have a carburetor, just bleed the fuel out of the bowl. You got a bleeder screw right here. If there's water in the air filter, then it's gonna be down there in there. And so if you try and start the bike, it's not gonna run, or it's not gonna run very well if you've got water in the fuel. So make sure you bleed that out before you try and start it. And most of the time, it fires up with no issues. Hopefully you haven't fried any of your electronics when you went underwater. When you get home, you'll want to do an oil change. Check for water in the oil because it can run in there. And that's it. You're done. You're good to go. So, got back, changed my oil, and this is what we got here. It looks like a cappuccino. Like there's milk in it, and obviously that's water. So, you know, it should look like a black coffee, not a cappuccino. So, yeah, that's why I changed the oil. I'll probably throw some cheap mineral oil in it. change the filter, and then run it and change it again in a couple hundred kilometers, and I'm sure to be fine.